Hi guys, I decided to record this clip to show you guys a little bit more on your assignment for next week. Again, it's going to be next Thursday before our in-person class. Let me know if you guys have any additional questions after this video, but hopefully this will help answer some of your questions. So we've already gone over how to process some of the data, and we've talked about what you need in order to get to this point. So I'm just going to go ahead and go straight into what you will be required to turn in for your assignment. So once you've created your model, you've applied that model to your motion clips, you're going to notice that now I have the actual trial with the model itself. And right on the left side here, we have the different biomechanical variables that we're looking for. So we have our right ankle angle, we have our right hip angle, and our right knee angle. So we already have all those different things that we need, those different components. Now, the next thing that you guys are going to need to do is you're going to create what is called our on and off events. And as you can see on here, I have our on and I have our off. You're going to determine what your on event is per trial, and you're going to let me know on your write-up what you are using to look at that sagittal plane. Again, we're looking just sagittal, so just looking at our flexion and extension. So in this case, when looking at our running trial, I'm specifically looking at the stance phase. So I'm looking from the minute, or I should say from the point or frame in which the person touches the force plate. So as you can see on there, as soon as that first force comes up, that's when I'm going to go ahead and select my on event. And the way that you would do that is just go on plus here, and then you would just select your right on and then create event at current animation frame. You're going to go, I've already created that, so I don't need to do it again, but you'll do that, and then you'll do the same thing as the person leaves the last frame right after you see that force plate. That's going to be my off event. Again, because I am looking at that stance phase, that's why I'm using that on and off event. What this is going to do is it's going to allow you to analyze only the data within that time frame. So that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to select, if you're looking at stance, then you'll be looking from the time that the person comes into contact with the force plate to the time of toe off. So as soon as they leave completely off the force plate. If you're going to be looking at, if you want to look specifically how long they are on the force plate for, you can do that too. I would stick to stance. That tends to be one of the easiest ones to look at, but that's what you will be doing. And then same thing for your walking one. You can look at from the time that the person comes into contact with the plate, and then same thing in that toe off as soon as they leave. Now for your squat, you can look at the full motion. So as the person is performing the movement, you can just choose to look at from the time that the person is standing. That could be your on event, and then going through the whole motion all the way to back to the starting position. So you can go ahead and look at what's going to happen with the flexion and what's going to be the maximum or what's going to be the minimum. You can go ahead and look at that as well. So you're going to be creating on and off events, and you're going to select a frame or a portion that you're going to be assessing. Once you select that, in this case, if we're looking at our ankle, and if you're looking specifically at running, or we'll do walking on this one. So you're specifically looking at walking, and we have that on and off event. As you can see, I've already labeled it. You're going to export the data for the on and off events. And one way you can do that is you can go ahead and do what we call ASCII files. So you're going to go ahead and look for this command, which is what this is going to do is it's going to export the data that you have on your Visual 3D file. You're just going to go ahead and double click on it, and then you're going to go through your C-Motion Wikipedia and look through how to export all this data onto your documents. Once you go through selecting all of this, you can select your on and off events. You can select which portion you'll be exporting, but what that's essentially going to do is going to lead to you having all this data on your Excel sheet. So this point right here is how to export the data so that you end up with a notepad, and that notepad is essentially going to have all your data on there, and then you can use the notepad to then transfer over to your Excel. And what that's going to look like, it's just a bunch of numbers that you're going to have. The system automatically saves it into a text file. It doesn't do it like you normally would on Excel. So it's going to look like this. All of this on here, that's how it's going to do after you export it from ASCII file. You're going to pretty much have all of this. What you can do is you can just go ahead and select all of it. You can just go ahead and copy it and then go to your Excel document here, and then you can just go ahead and paste it. And then that's pretty much all your data you have. Again, we're only looking at our sagittal plane, so you're only looking at that X component. And then up here, it's going to tell you whether it's the running. It's also going to tell you what angle you're looking at. In this case, you're looking at your hip, and then here would be your knee. So it's going to categorize everything, and it's going to organize it for you along with the trial. Once you get to this point, then that's where you're going to go ahead and create your graphs. So you're going to select for each one a graph, and then you're going to put it together. Again, mine looks like this because I haven't organized it, but you're essentially going to have a graph that's going to have all three different components, so each movement. So you'll have one graph that's going to be for your ankle, one graph that's going to be for the hip, and one graph that's going to be for the ankle. And I'm sorry, the knee, I forgot to mention that. So you are going to have one for each one, and each one of those graphs is going to have the three movements. So you have one that's going to be for the ankle, but it's going to have running, squats, and walking, right? I accidentally selected squats on here twice, but you'll essentially have running, squats, and you're going to have walking. So you're going to have one that's going to have all three of them, then another one that's going to have all three, and then another one that has all three of them. That's all you're going to be required to do for all three of those. And then if you want to add any additional things that you looked at, whether it's power, velocity, or anything else, then you can go ahead and include that as well. But that's what you are going to be doing for your assignment. And you're also going to need to create a write-up. And the write-up, what that's going to include is essentially an explanation of what those numbers mean, or what you think happened, why that's happening. So you're going to explain in a Word document and giving an explanation on what your graphs mean. Your explanation doesn't have to be long, but you do want to make sure that you mention what is happening, and just limit it to one page. You don't have to include more than that. So it's one page describing all three graphs. And you can go ahead and once you finish, upload your workspace. So the workspace is going to be this right here that has all your information on here, the model, everything that was processed. And then additionally, you're going to need to upload your Word document. And a Word document is going to include, again, the three label graphs. So you're going to put all of those three graphs in one page. And then the second page is going to include your description. And that description is going to say what's going on each one. If you have any additional questions, please let me know. But that is what you will be required to upload your assignment. But that should be all. Hopefully this helps clarify any questions or confusions.